Oh wow, look at that, extra revenue. So, you guys are gonna watch my other stuff, right? Right? Even if it's about The Weeknd's newest movie? Oh, I am so cooked. I'm a fan of The Weeknd. Pretty big one, actually. I've been loving his music since I first listened to The Hills when I was younger, and Dawn FM is, so great. His songs have had this 80s-like pop R&B aesthetic to him ever since Starboy, and it really reminds me a lot of Michael Jackson in some way. I respect Abel a lot as a music artist, plus his donations to Gaza, but sadly, his music is not what we're talking about today. At least not entirely. The Weeknd recently released Hurry Up Tomorrow, his sixth studio album, the finale of the After Hours trilogy, and likely the final album. I mean, yeah, but technically no. Because while it may be the last album from The Weeknd, Abel is not done with music, as he will continue under his real name. So it's much less the end of Abel's career, and more so the end of his stage persona. However, not only was the album part of the send-off, but it came with an entire feature film released last weekend. I swear to God that was not a pun. Now before actually getting into this film, I have to talk about Abel's prior experience with acting, minus the American Dad and Simpsons episodes, and Uncut Gems. That being the 2023 HBO series, The Idol, which he is also credited with creating. I haven't actually sat down to watch it, and honestly, I don't think I want to, but all I know is that it was hated for its bad writing, very concerning themes, plus the nightmare the production team had to go through, with Abel allegedly overhauling the show because he felt it was too, quote-unquote, female-focused. I'm just gonna let you make of that what you will. I think there's a reason it lasted only one season, but most of the criticism I've seen is of Abel's acting and yeah, based on the clips I've seen, bro does not look like he gives a single shit about his role. He just looks so bored whenever he's on screen, and all of his line reads sound like he's about to fall asleep.
Let me catch you looking at her again. Let me catch you looking at her again.
I'm not.
Let me catch you looking at her again.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Let me catch you looking at her again. I'll fucking drag you down Rodeo while your ass just fucking stomp you. I'll fucking curb stomp you.
I'm sorry.
I'll fucking curb stomp you.
But now a few years later, we have Hurry Up Tomorrow, directed by Trey Edward Schultz, who has a pretty good track record from what I've seen, with the exception of It Comes at Night, which was split amongst critics and audiences. But still, since he's got a pretty solid track record, you'd think it would at least turn out to be a decent psychic thriller that serves as a bittersweet send-off to The Weeknd as a character. Abel is a writer and producer. And that's where it all dies. The film stars a fictionalized version of Abel Tesfaye, whom, in the middle of a tour, is going through some rough shit, mostly a very recent breakup. To make matters worse, his psychological stress climaxes when he loses his voice during a concert, but it's where he meets this girl named Anima, who's also going through things, as he is taken into a journey that delves into his very existence with a chance to be reborn. So I think the first question worth asking is, where's the direction in this? I'm not kidding when I say this is probably one of the most directionless films I've ever watched, mostly because nothing flows together well at all. It starts by going back and forth between the stories of Abel and Anima and show how they're both struggling. They both meet after a concert where Abel loses his voice. They go on a date, they do the tango, then Anima gets mad at Abel for leaving, which leads to her knocking him out. There's a dream sequence, and the last 15 to 20 minutes of the movie takes place in the bedroom where Abel is tied up and Anima just plays his music and kills his manager. Not only do the plot points feel disconnected and all over the place, but it also feels like most of the scenes are just dragging on, especially the climax I just talked about. This is an hour and 45 minutes long, and somehow it is 75% nothing happening. I think the perfect way to describe this movie is that it's the most obvious example of style over substance. Visually, it actually looks fine. It was shot in middle-of-the-year film, which gives it a bit of an old school feel. They changed aspect ratio throughout, which may or may not have been necessary, but it looked cool. And it does have some decent cinematography, even if there were way too many Spain shots. I won't lie that it is a neat looking film. The problem is, they're putting that over, well, crafting an actual fucking story. Again, nothing about the plot makes a lick of sense. Not only is it just and then this happens for 100 minutes straight, but there are so many plot holes that just add on to the confusion. The whole reason Abel is a depressed sack of shit in the first half is because his ex broke up with him, but we never hear about why other than some voicemail saying that he hurt her. Why did Anima burn down her house at the beginning? Again, the movie never answers. What was that whole dream sequence about? No answer. And what do we get to know more about The Weeknd and what happens to him now? Take a guess. I'll give you 5 seconds. Of course there was nothing, you idiot. For a movie that's supposed to be the grand send-off to Abel's stage persona, we don't get to know anything about Abel as a person other than he suffered psychological stress, and Jenna Ortega dancing to and explaining his big hits as if we can't tell by listening to goddamn songs ourselves. Or looking up the meaning. It's worth noting that Hurry Up Tomorrow, both the film and album, were heavily inspired by a real incident during one of the Weeknd's 2022 concerts at SoFi Stadium during his After Hours Till Dawn tour, where he did actually lose his voice, and he did go on to explain that it was because of him putting pressure on himself. As much as it seems like a little mishap, the incident put a scar on Abel, and it's made him rethink a lot about his career, including dropping The Weeknd as a name. As weird as it sounds, this could be a very interesting premise for a psychological thriller. A movie that delves into the mind of a spiraling man, how his fame has affected him and those he loves, as well as a confrontation with his past and what lies in his future. But they don't commit to it, and instead have Abel barely do shit other than be all emotional and scared. If the movie isn't gonna say anything about Abel as a person, then what is it even trying to say? Like, either commit or don't make the movie at all. You can't go in between. I guess I need to move on to the big elephant in the room before I start repeating myself, which is the acting. I'll get the two actually good actors out of the way first. Jenna Ortega was the best part, hands down. Even if her character was very poorly written, she just cries half the time, and again, we don't even know what her deal was with her family and house and shit. She is still a very talented actor. She has some good line delivery, her emotions are very realistic, and it did look like she had fun filming the scene where she was dancing to the music, even if the scene itself is very pointless. Then you've got Barry Keoghan as Lee, Abel's fictional manager, and he doesn't really do much other than be a support system for Abel and get killed by Anima at the end, but he still managed to deliver a pretty solid performance nonetheless. Oh, and Metro Boomin is in this. But cool, I guess. And now, we have to address Abel's acting. So, did he manage to improve his skills from The Idol, or is he putting the same lack of effort from the show? Well, he kinda tried this time. While I will say he has gotten slightly better with his range of emotions, though I think we already knew he can cry on camera, there are still a plethora of scenes where he's either overacting or phoning it in. A lot of y'all heard about the opening where he's doing a fucking motorboat. Like, I get it's a vocal warm-up, but it's certainly a choice to open up a film with. And the clip that's going viral where he's like, "Oh my god, shut up! Shut the f up! What are you doing?" Jesus, that was so bad. But I don't see enough people bring up two other instances of Abel's acting, both of which are in the same scene minutes apart. During the montage where Abel is preparing for another concert, I swear to god, I wish I had a clip for this. He's in a dark room, I think, and he just starts yelling for no reason. That got the biggest laugh out of me. Afterwards, he sends a very angry voicemail to his ex, and while it is an actually solid delivery, they torpedo any seriousness it deserves by adding the demonic voice filter near the end of it. Again, I really wish I had clips of these, but nobody has even bothered to camera it as I'm recording this, which I think says a lot. Hurry Up Tomorrow is proof that Abel should just stick with music. With barely a story to go by, zero direction other than making the main characters cry. Did I always say it's half the movie? Abysmal pacing, poorly written characters, and mid-acting from a main lead, there's a reason why it's not doing well at the box office other than Lionsgate's lack of promotion and the very bad reviews it's getting. I can only slightly recommend it if you're a huge fan of The Weeknd, like I am, but you're either going to love it for the fan service or hate it for being wasted potential. I'll admit that I was jamming to the music, so I can't say I was bored, but it did feel like a chore to get through for the most part. There was a good movie in here somewhere, but it's bogged down by very bad creative choices and all the Abel self-worship, and I find that kinda upsetting. That's why I'm giving Hurry Up Tomorrow a 2 out of 10. Just listen to the album, guys. You're not missing anything by skipping this movie. And Abel, I wish you the best of luck with this new era of your career, and I love that you have a passion for film, but either get better at acting or don't do anything outside the music business. Again, it's gotta be one or the other, and you don't got an in-between option here. On the plus side, Cuphead made its theatrical debut for 4 seconds. Until next time, I'm Miyachi. See you later, Tama friends.